It's telling me that I'm live. I may be live. I may not be live. Hopefully, you guys made it over to the YouTube channel. As I've been banned from Facebook, we got a whole new platform and a whole new format, and we're just rolling with it. I am making the best that I can out of an unpleasant set of circumstances. But anyway, we're live. So if you guys are coming on and you're there, I don't have the steady feed like I got on Facebook. So go ahead and chat me up here. Post something in the comments. Let me know that you're on at least for the live stream. We've got it rolling on StreamYard, so we're going to see what's going on. We're going to go ahead and kick it off. Start off with the usual disclaimer. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and nobody else's. They are coming from the heart. They are guided by the mind. They are guaranteed to kick your ass. Laughing as we choke the world with our collective truth cock. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for the Sunday sermon. A little bumper music, I'm hoping. This is just kind of a stab in the dark out there right now, man. I need some guys to give me some feedback over in the chat window. Let me know what's up. Going with the built-in webcam instead of the camera phone. Best that we can do on short notice with the streaming software that we got. So I'm just kind of winging it right now and hoping for the best. Production screen's kind of off kilter. Everything is we're in brand new territory here all the way around, man. I can see my feet on StreamYard. There we go. All right, now we got some guys. Cool. All right. Raymond Pesha, the Ozmeister. Der Ozenmeister has arrived. I'm sure we got some of the other faithful on board. Just make some comments, guys, either in the chat window. I don't know if it's showing up as StreamYard or if it's showing up on the YouTube channel. This is the first time we've done one on the actual YouTube channel. Every other time we've just kind of gone with Facebook Live, but that option was taken away from me this week for at least 30 days. We're going to get into the methods and reasons behind that nonsense. Still got my bottle of liquid enthusiasm, so some things never change. That's kind of refreshing. Just like this. Want a sip? It's tasty. But I got out to Metroflex here in San Marcos. Got my lift on earlier. A little chest of tries on that Josh Bryant bottle, the Jailhouse Strong stuff that we've been getting down with. We'll get a little more into that probably on the back end of the program because I've been making it a point to do some things that we can focus on going forward. See what kind of things are going on here. Lots of interesting things on the news front. We're not going to delve too deeply into it. Because like I said, we're getting away from the sad shit. We're getting away from the depression. We're getting away from all of that stuff. No more black pills, man. Laughing, let us perish. Amid laughter, let us face our doom. And if you can tell me the source for that quote, you, sir, move on to the bonus round. I don't think you win anything because we're sort of short on prize money around here. But still, I'd be really fucking impressed if somebody knew where the quote came from. Once again, the quote, laughing, let us perish. Amid laughter, let us face our doom. Brother Joel on board, CN over here. Once again, guys, as you filter in, I know I probably lost a good, at least a third, maybe half of the audience that regularly tunes in over on Facebook. I put the message out as broadly as I could through my guy Mo Baxter, and I want to give a shout out to my buddy Mo. If you guys haven't friended Mo Baxter on Facebook yet, go over and friend the guy. He's very, very lonely. He keeps to himself most of the time. He's not a real big fan of social media. In fact, he's probably more misanthropic than I am, if that were even possible. But just for the sake of, he is my friend, and he is the guy that allows me to stay in touch on Facebook whenever they take my profile down. So if you guys would just get the word out and go, if he's already sent you a friend request, take it. If not, send him a friend request. The guy's name is Mo Baxter. Hard Mo Baxter. Give him a friend request, man, because he's the guy that whenever I get put in Zuckerberg Penitentiary, he's the guy that puts money on my books. So that's where we're at with that. So, some of you may be asking yourselves, how, Mr. Stewart, considering you spend a considerable amount of time in Facebook jail anyway, what was the egregious offense that got you the 30-day suspension? Well, I'll go ahead and catch you guys up to speed. Actually, it was a double whammy. And I'm going to have to be careful in how I phrase things because my understanding is that YouTube is also somewhat censorious when it comes to certain topics being discussed. And it's also my understanding that they've been known to cut live streams in the middle of certain hot topic buttons. That was a mall store back in the, whatever. Hot button topics get discussed. They've been known to cut live streams like right in the middle. They've done it to Tim Pool. When a certain blow-baiting guy from Texas was on, a guy that likes to talk about putting stuff in the water, turn the freaking frogs gay. When that guy was on Tim Pool's show, and I can't say his name because apparently that's one of those hot button things that'll get your stream clipped. But anyway, you guys that are on board, please, if you would, I'm watching between two different tabs here. Whether people are chiming in on the YouTube flow or whether they're chiming in on the StreamYard flow. I really don't know how this works. I'll be the first to tell you guys I'm an absolute cretin and I'm absolutely winging it with regard to this. They took my main platform away. They did it to me one time before and we had to go over to Twitter, and that was that was less than productive. And again, if worst comes to worst, we could go back to Twitter. Once I get this thing streaming on multiple platforms, we may wind up with Twitter being one of those multiple platforms. But I'm loath to give any nods to Jack Boots Dorsey and the Twitter thought police. I've really pulled back. If you guys follow me over there at all, and most of y'all are smart enough never to have gotten involved with that, I do have a presence over there, or did. But once they really started ramping things up, I had to get the hell out of there, and my participation over there has dropped off to nothing. So we're doing what we can just to keep things alive, keep things rolling forward. I would imagine Aaron is on here somewhere. If he's not on here, he's let me see. Again, you guys that are here, man, just make your presence felt. Get over in the chat window and click something, because I basically got two separate tabs here. I've got this one that I'm looking at, which is my tab, which is off of StreamYard, I think. The software, yeah, powered by StreamYard. So it's right up here in the corner. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. And then I've got one tab over the actual YouTube studio, which is not showing me live. But when we did the test video last night with Aaron, it was coming through. And some of the chats and stuff over here were coming through over here in the live chat. So I really don't know. In fact, I'm going to type something into the live chat just as we'll chalk this week up to an experiment. How about that? So I'm going to type in hello, folks. Over here with my usual ellipsis that I end every sentence with. There we go. All right, cool. We got James Pearson on board. Afternoon. Cool. Mr. Pearson, your comment that you're entering, are you entering that on StreamYard or on the actual YouTube chat window? If you could just give me that little bit of feedback and let me know how this thing is going, because all I have in front of me is the StreamYard window, which is right in front of me here. And of course, the banner back behind me, courtesy of my stepson Xavier, supporting the Wounded Warrior Project. I don't need to belabor the point on that. You guys know. Do you want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors? I haven't seen the Viking brothers or Roman or the wife show up yet, but I do want to give those shout outs because they have been long-term friends and sponsors and big supporters of the program. First of all, Casey and Dusty Tellison, my Viking brothers over at Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the Inland Northwest. You're free to disagree, but you would be wrong. And I'll come to your house and curb stomp you like out of American History X if you even suggest such blasphemy. Kidding. That's a joke. I know social media doesn't make allowance for that anymore. We're going to get into that. Other longtime friend and sponsor of the program, and you've seen Carrie Rubino and the old man, Roman and Allie and Roxy, the bevy of beautiful women over at opiumtales.com. You can check them out at the website, opiumtales.com, or you can follow them on their Twitter feed. He's still on Twitter for as long as Jack Boots Dorsey is going to allow either one of us to be. He's still over there. And again, beautiful artwork from a skilled artist and testosterone-driven rhetoric, which is always nice. The YouTube chat window, don't ask for more info. That's my tech limit. Okay. Okay, Brother Pearson. Thank you. Thank you, Brother James. Well, it's like, that's all the feedback that I needed, because again, this is, I'm on different tabs. I wish you guys could see. I wish there was some way that I could actually cast what I'm looking at here. Brother Ryan, glad you made it. Audiovisual quality is the best it's been since you left Spokane, coming in on the YouTube channel. All right, cool, man. This is the kind of feedback that I need, because again, this first time going forward, we're through the looking glass right here, people. We're into totally new territory. I have had this YouTube channel and I've posted videos there off and on. And since you guys now are subscribed, you can go back and look at some of those older videos. And maybe since I'm doing my live stream here, I might as well start adding some new content for as long as they allow me to. It's not a real big deal for me to do that. Unlike guys like Tim Pool and people like that, my revenue stream was never monetized on YouTube. That is one of the things that they will do. They don't have to outright censor people, but you've got a lot of people like, for instance, Tim Pool, and some other guys like the guy from We Are Change, Rakowski from We Are Change, whose income largely depended on that revenue stream from their YouTube videos. And you don't have, they always have we're not out to ban anybody. Well, yes, you fucking are. But, they at least have the stages of it. Well, we could have just censored you, but instead we're just going to demonetize you. We're only going to demonetize you. Oh, okay. Well, then when you've got somebody who has spent years building a following, and they're better than half of their income depends on that revenue stream from their YouTube content, and you demonetize them, you may as well have just cut them off completely, because now they've got to shift to other things. Fortunately, I'm not beholden to that, because my model has always been counting straight away on donations, and as a result of that, I don't have to be as beholden. If they come for me, which again, I'm not going to toot my own horn. I don't think I'm anywhere close to that right now. But if YouTube decides to come for me in the way that Facebook did, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. If they come for me, they're going to have to just boot me, because I was never monetized. They don't have that Damoclesian sword Viva Referentia Obscura. I know Ryan got it, but they don't have that sort of Damocles to dangle over my head and say, well, either you behave and stop talking about certain stuff, or we're going to demonetize you. Well, I was never monetized in the first place. So, and I prefer to keep it like that. Like I said, with y'all, with that audience, I looked back over the Facebook channel, and all the old broadcasts are there. And I've been doing this. It'll be here in a couple of weeks. It'll be a year that I've been doing this. And it started off just as a therapy session for me, just to get on and rant once a week and get a lot of stuff off my chest. But it's taken on a life of its own, and it's gotten a serious following. And there are videos that I have on there. Some weeks haven't done so well. Some weeks have done better than others, but there's weeks that I've been on there that have gotten literally thousands of views. And if we've got those, here's the financial model. I'm saying all this in a roundabout way. I would rather have 1,500 viewers kick me $1, in the collection plate, than I would have 2 viewers kick me 750. And either way we arrive at 1,500, but for me personally, just as a matter of principle, I would rather make a little bit of a difference in 1,500 people's worldview than make a really big difference. Well, I mean, I'll take that big difference, you know what I mean? But again, then you sort of get into that. Well, if that becomes the model every week, are you really reaching those people, or are you just tailoring your message to the two big guys that are throwing you money? And then we run into that same issue of integrity again. So I don't know. I'm a different breed of cat, man. This is not how I make my living. This is not, and I don't anticipate. I mean, it'd be nice if I could get to that point, but right now this is not how I make my living, and therefore I'm not really beholden. So when I'm speaking something, when I'm spitting, man, I'm spitting the truth as I see it. I'm not beholden to anyone. So I don't care if it hair lips every hillbilly on Buck Creek and short dicks every cannibal on the Congo. I'm going to call it like I see it, and I'm going to keep spitting like that. So that's where we're at. So right now I have for sure, I've got Ryan and Oz and James over here. I'm sure I've got some more people. Again, for those of you that are filing in late, just kind of hit me with something over here in the sidebar in the chat window, just to kind of go, hey man, I'm here. Video quality is good, audio quality is good, whatever. We're not going from the phone today. We're going straight away from the laptop. You guys, I've spoken about it before. And if I had my YouTube page or if I had my Facebook page right now, I could post a link. This is a second generation Dell, I want to say 7420 XFR. It's a military spec laptop. It's built for punishment, man. And this model, unlike the older models, has the built-in webcam. Joey, cool. Glad you made it, bro. Glad you made it. This one has the built-in webcam, and it's got built-in audio, which is questionable. I'd like to get a better camera and microphone set up, and we can work on that. But at least I've got the option just to stream it. Ryan is saying it's the best quality since Nebraska. So good, because that's when conditions were optimum. In Nebraska, we had a smooth, solid Wi-Fi connection. Everything was manageable. The audio and everything was feeding through properly on condenser mics. And so, I mean, if we're running with this just right off the laptop, hey, boom. If the quality's on, I can totally live with that. But there's advantages, when you're living on the road like I have been since April of last year. There's advantages to having this mil spec laptop. I mean, I can, it doesn't matter. I can spill stuff on it. I can beat a son of a bitch to death with this damn thing, and then turn around and take pictures with the webcam while I'm waiting for the cops to show up. I mean, it's waterproof, windproof, shockproof, dustproof. You can look up Dell XFR torture test on YouTube when I'm done with the stream and see what this thing's built for. Also, now finally, prior to this week, this is what was making the magic. And again, they're not a sponsor. Just like Maxpedition isn't a sponsor, but I do like to give shout outs to equipment that I use and believe in. This is what up until this week, every single broadcast that has come over Facebook Live has come through this phone. This is a Cat S41. Yeah, that's right. Caterpillar. Yep. Cat, the same guys that make the big heavy diesel equipment. They have a company contracting out that are doing job site phones. Right. And much like, you spend a lot of money on cases and things for your phone. This thing is the case. I mean, it is built for speed, Corning Gorilla Glass, waterproof, shockproof. You can look up torture test for this Cat S41 torture test and see where they run over it with motor vehicles and, freeze it in a block of ice and the thing still functions. And this is one of their older generation phones. So if when you're living on the road, like I have been since April, having the rugged equipment, particularly if you're going to be out on job sites, like, when I was working the wind farms and stuff, things get banged around, man. And, you're going from place to place. You might have to toss something in the back of your car and head on down the road, and you need rugged equipment. So look into, and the beauty of it is this great laptop that is served perfectly for me on the road cost me, I think, $350 on eBay. complete with a 512 gig solid state hard drive. So they can be found. And this, the refurbished S41, and again, this is one of their older phones. Their newer models actually have a built-in FLIR camera, forward-looking infrared. So their newer models actually have built-in thermal imaging. So for the prepper community, and even for like construction guys and shit like that have to find stuff, behind sheetrock, that's a nice little bonus. But I think the phone reconditioned, I think I spent maybe $200 on, and I've been beating the shit out of it now for like 2 or 3 years, and it just keeps taking the abuse. Dennis, hey, cool, man. So I'm glad you found your way over. Dennis, the way that you phrase that, there you are. Kind of give me a little explanation for what you meant by that. It's like if you had to jump through some hoops to find me on YouTube, or if the stream was just out there. Because again, this whole week is basically chalked up to an experiment. It's the first time that I'm doing it, so I'm trying to figure out the ins and outs and how do we improve with this platform going forward. So Dennis, if you could elaborate a little more on, there you are, it's like, there you are, you had a hard time finding me, or there you are, I was like buried under some shit and it was just hard to find the live stream. Just kind of fill me in on what's going on there. So how did we arrive at this point where we had to kick over finally to a different platform? Apparently, well, we all know that the Facebook people have no sense of humor. The only people that have less of I didn't see the YouTube video at 5:30. I just kept checking back, and then all of a sudden YouTube says you're live. Okay, that might be a problem that we can fix going forward. I think possibly because I looked at the StreamYard interface and it said that we may be able to schedule it ahead of time to where it'll like let everybody on YouTube know, hey, we're going live at 5:30, whatever. So maybe that's something I can play with for next week. But yeah, any insight that we could get out of that. Anyway, Facebook has no sense of humor, and the only people that have less sense of humor than Facebook are the people that they're constantly fawning over on the political spectrum, of which probably the most prominent example, particularly this week, was little Sandy Cortez. Yep. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or Sandy, as she was known to all of her friends before she started the long-standing fraud that is basically her political career. Now she's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Before Sandy was good, when she was a bartender. Yeah. So anyway, beyond her being a dimwit, I don't mind dimwits, particularly in politics, because Jesus, man, dimwits in politics are a dime a fucking dozen, particularly on the Democratic side. What I get bothered by is, as you guys have heard me specify before, the thing that bothers me is sanctimony. The thing that bothers me is Munchausen syndrome. The thing that bothers me is outright fucking falsehoods to paint yourself a victim. Well, it came out that after all the hand-wringing and pearl clutching that you got no Reverend Bart page on BitChute. Haven't been set up yet, but it'll be there. So yeah, what a lying liar that constantly lies through her lying liar hole. Yeah, that's fairly accurate description, Dennis. But she got busted in a big one. I mean, she there was much ado that was made about the raid on the Capitol and how Ted Cruz nearly had her murdered, and my life was in danger, and it was a near-death experience, and I was so traumatized. And then it came out that she wasn't even in the same fucking building. Now, I don't mind that she left out fucking details. It's the fact that she left them out specifically on purpose to engineer one fucking narrative. She mentions the guy storming into her office, a white guy. It was very important to point out that he was a white guy who stormed in wearing a beanie, and sort of neglected to mention that beanie identified him as a member of the Capitol Police. We can leave out that little detail because that doesn't fit the narrative. And he stormed in screaming, "Where is she? Where is she?" And she couldn't be certain that he didn't have violent intent, basically implying even after she got busted and it came out that the dude she was talking about was a cop, she tried to do the fallback plan of she couldn't be certain about the cops, that the cops were in on it somehow because he was, after all, an angry white man with a beanie, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, she just got busted. She just got wide open busted in a lie. But instead of copping to it, which is never required of Democrats, she doubled down, proceeded to say that these were oversights, again, neglecting to mention that these were intentional oversights when she was crafting the narrative in the first place. And she actually tweeted to all of her supporters, and this is the thing, and it's more indicative of a larger and more dangerous trend, to where anyone that disagrees with them must be forcibly shut down or at least badgered by the Twitter mob until action is taken against them. And basically, I got caught up in that because as soon as it came out that she had lied, and granted, what I thought was clever wordplay was lost on the Zuckerberg crowd. But I posted an article from a mainstream news source, I believe NBC News, that basically said, "Look, she lied. She lied. She was never in any danger. She was never in the same building. This thing about her almost being killed is just utterly ridiculous." And my caption below the video was, "I'm not calling her the whore of Babylon. I'm merely stating that this whore just babbles on and on and on and on." And, I thought it was clever. But again, Zuckerberg and clearly the AOC crowd had no sense of humor about this thing. And because at that point, she had instructed her fawning faithful to go on the warpath and report any post on any social media platform that questioned her ridiculous and clearly and demonstrably false narrative, that those posts were to be reported. And that's pretty much what happened. I had a post that got reported. Shortly after that, I had another faux pas over, I believe it was ivermectin. It was basically, I mentioned there was an over-the-counter veterinary drug that a double-blind study coming out of Australia showed had met with some success in the treatment of COVID-19. And I was very specific in the way that I worded it, that this should never, ever be done, wink, wink, should never, ever be attempted, wink, wink. And if you do decide to use it, definitely don't use the same dosage that you would use in a similar sized pig, wink, wink. A lot of people aren't aware of this, and this is something we're going to get into now that we've entered the back half of the program here. I meant to talk about this not specifically with regard to ivermectin, but with regard to some other things, with regard to the prepper community and first aid supplies, particularly antibiotics, that are available, common and over the counter, in a lot of veterinary supply places. But again, roundabout way, that post also got flagged as giving medical advice without being somebody properly cleared to give medical advice, when clearly I was advising them not to, wink, wink. So, I can't be mad at them for that because, I knew I was poking the bear with that one. I knew I was. But as far as the AOC thing, where am I violating community standards? I wasn't suggesting any sort of badgering of the retard. I wasn't, retard, that might be, it's going to get my stream clip. I wasn't suggesting any badgering of the lying politician, the lying shill in question. I was merely stating that, in my observation, she's a prattle-mouthed little whore that just babbles on and on and on and on. This is my opinion. I wasn't suggesting action against her. I wasn't saying, as she did with her fans and followers, that we all need to go to her page and throw our little temper tantrums. We don't do that shit. She's a bonehead, and I'm content to let that stand on its own. But apparently pointing out that she's a bonehead and a little bit of clever wordplay, the whore just babbles on, which I still think is funny. I'm sorry, maybe I'm 7 and I'll own that, but I thought it was giggle worthy at least. But yeah, no sense of humor about that. Post got reported, and hence I am 30 days in the hole, 30 days in the Facebook hole. So the game plan rolling forward is, and I'm giving you guys the heads up, the game plan rolling forward is to take advantage of that 30-day window and completely disassociate myself with any need for them as a primary platform. I have used Facebook Live as my go-to again for almost a year now, because that's the platform that I started with. It was the one on which I felt most comfortable. I could see the feedback from the audience as I was doing the broadcast. It was a lot more interactive. I felt comfortable with the format. I felt like you guys got to get plenty out of it as well, because you could, comment on the fly and there was little or no delay. But as a result of that, I have made, and it's my own fault, I don't blame anybody, no one to blame for that but myself. I should have a long time ago. And I kept paying lip service. Hey, I'm going to get around to it one day, going to a multi-stream format where I could hit a number of different platforms all at one time. And that way, if one decided that I wasn't their cup of tea, that they'd be able to, they could yank me, but I'd still be over on these 3 other ones. It's the Rawls rule of redundancy. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. But I waited, and yeah, your local feed store carries it, folks. Yeah, right. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Like I said, we're on the back end of the broadcast right now, and I did promise we were going to get into some things that we can't actually do. Yes, her supporters run cover for her, Joey, and the media will maintain their story. They're going to continue to push that narrative, and they can't say that we're lying. Because clearly we're telling the truth. If pressed, they will fall back on the usual thing that we're sexist and evil and bullies and yada, 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 yada. Okay, fine. We're all over it. Whatever. Whatever helps you sleep at night, whatever gets you to bed, Sparky. I'm all about it. But now that we're at least streaming on YouTube and StreamYard, the little duck bill that you see up here, there, the little duck bill that you see right there, StreamYard, they have the ability to broadcast on their Pro Edition right now. I think I'm using their entry level, but their Pro Edition, which is a minor upgrade, cost me a little bit of money, not much. It's billed monthly, and I'll be able to stream across. There's about a dozen different formats, including Twitter, BitChute, Gab. I'm sure they'll make a provision for Parler whenever Parler comes back. And according to what I heard from Dan Bongino this week, that Parler may be making a comeback in a big way, which will be good for us because the more platforms we have that refuse to censor, the better off we are. And they can bemoan us going to our own little echo chambers and things like that. This is criticism that we should be largely immune to by now, because let's face it, they set the rules, right? When you make it impossible for us to participate on everybody's general format because we are thought criminals and we're guilty of wrongthink, then don't be surprised. Well, if you don't like it, you can go create another platform. Well, we did, and we go over to there, and now you want to lament how we are somehow creating echo chambers. I mean, it's typical projection, but again, this is stuff we don't need to get into because I'm preaching to the choir here. We all know what we're up against, and again, this is not something we're not fighting against shit anymore. We're not fighting for something, And what we're fighting for here is the ability to continue to live our lives as free and independent individuals, as free and independent spirits who are in control of our own lives, who are in control of our own destiny, who want to work, who want to take care of their families, and who want to essentially govern themselves as much as that is possible in the modern paradigm. So that's what we're fighting for. And rolling forward, that's what we're going to concentrate on. I'm going to take advantage of this 30-day window where I am not only not allowed, I'm not allowed to post on the Reverend Bart page. I'm not allowed to post on my personal page either. Again, I want everybody to give a friend request to my buddy Mo. Mo Baxter, really good guy, very antisocial, very misanthropic, probably more brutal and less concerned about your delicate sensibilities even than I am. But overall, he's a nice fella. And he's the guy keeping my pages alive while I'm over in Zuckerberg. While I'm in Zuckerberg Penitentiary, he's the guy putting money on my books. So definitely give a friend request to Mo Baxter if you haven't already. And if he friend requested you, go ahead and take it. And he'll be giving you the updates. I'm unable to post on my personal page or my fan page right now. But I am going to take advantage of this 30-day window, and I'm going to be dropping posts to let you guys know where most of my stuff is going to wind up ending up. That may be on Gab. That may be on BitChute. That may be on Parler. That may be on MeWe is another format. That may be on VK. VK is like a Slavic Facebook. If you guys haven't seen that. I really haven't decided. I'm playing around with these different formats. Again, collectively, we have all had years of there being some big players, and we got used to being part of the big players, and change does not come easily, especially for us old folk. But that's it. Ever notice how pressure and resistance create growth in training? Wonder if the same works in message resistance. Just a theoretical hypothetical, of course. And Ryan, of course, chiming in with please drop the soap. Don't get me wrong, Ryan, you're a very good looking guy, but just our dynamic right now is just, it'd be a little too incestuous. I think I don't want to make it awkward. So you're a good looking man though. Just saying, if we were locked down long enough. Anyway, now that I made it awkward for everyone, so moving forward, 30-day window, going to be taking advantage of it. Mo Baxter will be popping on to post on my fan page and on my personal page to kind of let you know where things are shaping up. But I want you guys, if you're seriously interested in the message, and if you're seriously, more to the point, interested in that vibe, which is finding things outside of that spoon-fed mainstream narrative, the machine that runs that. If you're really looking to get outside of that, then the biggest thing that we can do is start stepping outside of this. Because as long as we keep coming back, it's like that wife beater. As long as that bitch keeps coming back, I'm gonna keep beating her up. I ain't got no reason not to. I don't know why I picked a hillbilly voice for that, but it just seemed appropriate. Whatever. But yeah, we need to start making those moves and breaking away and looking at those other formats is going to be the quickest and most effective way to do it. So I'll be keeping you guys posted over the next 30 days. Then we go with that. Dovetailing off of my post, where we at on time right now? We got about 10, 15 minutes left to go. That give me some time to actually touch on this, because I definitely wanted to touch on this. Not necessarily on ivermectin. Ivermectin, again, it's an antiparasitic. It's an antiparasitic drug. A lot of you guys have asked me in the prep community, where do we come about? And here's where the fact checking is going to come in, because I'm going to get fact checked by my wife on a lot of this stuff. So do keep in mind what I'm expressing right now, as stated in the disclaimer at the beginning of the program. The opinions that I am expressing are my own and no one else's. For the record, my resident fact checker disagrees with me vehemently on a number of these things. And as always, I suggest to you to do your own homework. I'm not even going to get into ivermectin that much, because I haven't done that much personal research on it. I don't know. All I know is the story that came out of Australia was that in a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, that they found that ivermectin in conjunction with a Z-Pak
had pretty much the same type of results they had with hydroxychloroquine in conjunction with a Z-Pak, and that they found it to be considerably more effective in the treatment of COVID. Now, that's something for you all to do your own homework on. But what it points out is something that a lot of you may not be aware of, is that ivermectin, like a number of veterinary medications, is available literally over the counter at your average feed and supply store. If you guys live down in the South and the Southwest, like here in Texas, I know you've got North 40, which what is it, Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply down here, which last I checked had a fairly extensive veterinary medicine section, where you can find a number of veterinary medicines. If you live up in the Northwest, you have North 40. There's a bevy of these feed and supply companies, and all of them have a fairly large section of veterinary medicines. When things come down in a shit hit the fan without rule of law, or my term, grid down tits up situation, when these things come down, the access to a lot of these things, first of all, it's already tightly controlled in the case of a lot of veterinary, in the case of antibiotics across the board. It's already very, very tightly controlled, and it's hard to get your hands to antibiotics now, let alone in a grid down tits up situation where, and particularly if it's a bacterial outbreak or even a viral outbreak, because people don't know the difference. They'll be using antibiotics against viruses just because they don't know fucking any better. There are any number, if you go to these places, if you go to Tractor Supply or North 40 or any of these places, check out their selection of veterinary medicines. Not only do they have antibiotics, and usually across the board, the full spectrum of antibiotics, whether it's, the stuff that you get in a Z-Pak, or whether it's, this mycin or that pectin or what, they have antibiotics across the board that are veterinary medicines. And they also have vitamin injections as well, multivitamin injections, B12 injections in particular, which are things that can be used to boost your immune system and facilitate healing in the event that you run into some of these unpleasant eventualities. So this is something to look into, a little poke into your bread oven of ways that you can increase your disaster stores. Now, one of the concerns would be, do I really want to be putting something in my body All right. Apparently we're still live. It clipped out, and we managed to fix it and clip right back in again. Looks like we're still on that mark too, man. 43 minutes in. All right. I don't know if we butted up against a keyword or if we had some problems with the internet connection. Could have been one or the other. I'm not gonna jump in. The one thing I do want to say while we're addressing this is make sure that you do your own homework on that. In fact, Ryan just popped in with a comment. Do not buy the green vitamin B. Now, I wouldn't have known that. So you guys probably didn't know that either, or maybe you did. But do your own homework on this stuff. Yes, there were a couple of idiots that killed themselves with hydroxychloroquine, and Trump is to blame for that because he recommended it. No, that is not what happened. What they did was they took a fish tank cleaner that had a chemical name that sounded like hydroxychloroquine. They took it, and the old man died. And there's enough evidence to suggest that the old lady knew that he was going to die and that it was a roundabout murder. But again, media narratives aren't going to be bothered with the truth. Anyway, what you are going to hear from me always is do your own homework on that whenever, before you decide to move forward on any of these things. Brown bottle only, the green burns. Okay, cool. So not that it's necessarily toxic or anything, it just hurts, basically. sort of like the difference between using oil-based testosterone and water-based testosterone. Got it. Yeah. Because that fire water is a son of a bitch, man. I remember test suspension from back in the day when I was walking around gargantuan like a Russian moose. Something, whatever. Them narratives don't make themselves. Right on. No, Steve, you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much. And I don't blame you for showing up late. We're in a new format. And like I said, this has all just been a colossal experiment this week. So anyway, just basically we're on the ass end right now. Just wanted to catch you guys up to speed on what was going on. Wanted to give a little poke into the bread oven with regard to the veterinary antibiotics, veterinary medications that are available for you. The ivermectin thing, I'm not advocating anything like that. I'm just telling you, this is the story that I heard. This is where I heard it from. Do your own homework. I am not a medical professional, not advocating any of that stuff, just throwing it out there. And since we're talking about over-the-counter veterinary medications, I wanted to cover the other stuff too, because, preppers who have a tough time getting their hands on things, well, it can be difficult. Also, guys, if you're part of a prepper community, listen, we all know, because we're adults, we're all fucking adults here, and I'm not going to treat you guys like kids. When it comes to getting medications, we all know someone that knows someone who is a script doctor, don't we? Right? Again, I am not suggesting, nor am I conspiring with anyone for the purposes of suggesting that anyone participate in any illegal activity. Okay. There are things that belong in your medical kit that you may not be able to get through legitimate means. And I'm not talking about, go get your ass strung out on fucking oxys and pick up a bunch of opiate painkillers. It may not hurt to have a few morphine and a few Dilaudid tucked away in your crash kit for a grid down situation where somebody takes a bullet or, suffering, has a mechanical injury where their knee gets wrenched and you don't have a emergency room to go to. But there are other things, say, for instance, strong antivirals, strong pharmaceutical grade antibiotics, hardcore stuff. We had during the anthrax scare, what was the big one that they put Bush on? I'm not going to mention it by name. There are a number of high-end antivirals that are out there. These are things that you want to have in your crash kit before the situation happens. So if you know someone who knows a script doctor, or if you know a script doctor, or you have 1 degree of separation where you know someone who knows a script doctor, you guys get the picture. Again, we are a community. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Find someone who can get these things, because if they're going to write, particularly a pill mill doctor, if he's going to write scripts for oxys, okay, for guys that he knows are painkiller junkies, let's not clean it up. He's going to write scripts for oxys for somebody that he knows is a painkiller junkie. Then what matter of conscience is going to prevent him from writing a strong antiviral for somebody to keep in their kit? I'll give you an example from personal experience, and we're edging up on time right now, but I'll just give you this. there was a back in the day when I was doing irresponsible amounts of anabolic steroids. There was one doctor in particular, doc. I say doc. There was one dealer in particular. We called him Doc. There was one dealer in particular who was bringing anything and everything over the Mexican border, because that's what it was. Most of the stuff now is UGL, but at the time, Mexican veterinary was the number one thing that was being brought across. And I hit him up and I said, listen, I said, I know you've been getting me this thing. I know you've been getting me like Test and Equipoise and Trenbolone and all this. What I need you to get from me, though, because I know that you're running the same circles, I need you to get me some Nubane. And he freaked the fuck out on me. He was like, dude, no, man, you can't use Nubane, man. I don't want to see you get strung out. I see all these powerlifter guys, man, they're strung out on Bane, and they're using it every fucking day, man, and they're just fucking zombies, and Bane just fucking, it changes their whole personality. And I was like, bro, slow down. I was like, I don't want it for that purpose. I want it to have as a powerful analgesic to put in my crash cart for, if society collapses. Thankfully, this guy had known me for years, and he was like, dude, if anybody else would have given me that excuse, I'd have said they were full of shit. But you, bro, I believe. And he got me 4 or 5 bottles of Nubane that stayed in my crash cart, not my crash cart, but my go bag, my medical go bag for a long period of time. Get this stuff now, because it's hard enough to get now through licit or illicit channels. But get it now, because once this thing really starts rolling, it's going to be unavailable. Just like guns, just like ammunition. And if you haven't already gotten squared away on your beans, your bullets, and Band-Aids, you need to be on point with that too. Believe it or not, and I'm going to leave you with this. For those of you guys who are in Texas, Texas Gun Trader. It's an online website. If you have a felony, don't bother. If you have a domestic, don't bother. Because in spite of the so-called gun show loophole, which doesn't exist, well, it doesn't exist. You're going to get background checked if you go through this stuff. Having said that, I don't know if they just haven't gotten the memo yet. I would have expected, and some of them have gotten the memo. I've seen AR-15s and AK platforms going for astronomical amounts of money, but I'm still seeing a lot of them that are going for perfectly reasonable amounts of money. I've seen Kalashnikov platforms in the $800 range. I've seen AR platforms in the $600 to $800 range. I've also seen them pushing for $3,000. But they're still out there. The PTR 91s that I mentioned on my Facebook page are still out there for in the neighborhood of $1,000. They can still be had if you want to get a military style rifle before this all starts coming down. But guys, I can't even believe you got this much of a window, but it's there. Take advantage of it. Grab what you can while you can. Because the things that are going to be coming down the pike here in very short order, like I said, once we get into this next congressional session, once they have finished their token impeachment of a president who's already been removed, somebody explain to me how that works. Once they're done with their little optics party, that's going to be the next thing coming down the pike. So I suggest that you be strong for that. Square away your beans, your bullets, and your Band-Aids. Do it now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed to you. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. I appreciate you guys coming out and being here. Not a whole lot of substance. We didn't get into a whole lot of different bullet points and articles today. But again, today was sort of an experiment, and I wanted to see how it rolled, to be able to talk about some things and just see how people participated, and if they were able to participate even. But it seems to have come off without a hitch. You guys know how to get in touch with me. I'm still available on Facebook Messenger if you want to hit me there. My email address is reverendbart@hotmail.com. That's right, I've still got a Hotmail address because I'm ancient. Look at me, I'm a fossil, but it's there. Going out with some Clutch on a recommendation of Brother Ryan. Fortunate Son. Little Neil Fallon Clutch, always like a nice thing to go out on. Brother James, thank you, sir. I hope you all have a fantastic week too, man. I appreciate you all coming out. We'll be back
kind of on point next week. We'll have all the bullet points. I'm sure we'll have plenty on the political front that'll merit discussing. We'll have some more training tips, some more preparedness tips for you. But we're going to keep it rolling forward, guys. We're going to keep it rolling forward. This thing is a juggernaut, and you guys are the wheels and the tracks that keep it rolling. Freaking love y'all, man. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it, man. Guys, take good care of yourselves and each other. Make sure we stay in contact. As I said, square away those beans, bullets, and Band-Aids, man. Get in touch with all your folks. Make sure they're squared away and on point. The time is short, boys and girls. Don't say I didn't warn you. How long did it take to train that hat? About as long as it took for them to take Rhodesia. That's how long. Thought you might enjoy that, Steve. One of the few guys out there that actually got the Rhodesia reference, which was always nice. Picked up a Mag V12 gauge for $500 on Friday. Nice, Steve. That's a good little score. Remember, guys, they're out there, dude. You just got to get out and get them. Don't let anybody tell you different. You are in charge of you. Keep the faith. Stay strong. Move forward. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Peace. I'm out. See you next Sunday.